What's up YouTube, this is Tubedigga. In this video I'm going to show you the new Humanize feature in MPC 2.2. So if you don't already know, MPC has now been updated to 2.2 for the PC and Mac software and plugin, and also the firmware for your MPC Live and MPC X hardware. So let's go to the track edit menu, and this is where we find the Humanize feature. So we'll click on that. So the first option we're met with is to humanize time, which I imagine would be the most common use for the Humanize feature. We can filter that out. So let's click that back on. If we choose to humanize the time, we can do that by an amount of pulses. It goes from 1 all the way up to 240. And if you take a look down the bottom, you can see this bit of text change to tell you how much it's shifting your notes. So at the very maximum at 240, it's exactly a 16th note. As we go down, it's a bit less, more than a 32nd, a bit more than a 32nd, less than a 32nd, more than the 64th, a bit more than the 64th, a bit less, less than the 64th, a small amount very human, and a very small amount practically mechanical. Underneath, we've got an eagerness value that we can choose. If we go into the negative values, this field changes down here to tell you what kind of effect it's going to take. So in the middle at 0, it says just generally sloppy. If we go towards the left, this will shift your notes earlier. So often ahead of the beat, mostly ahead of the beat, always ahead of the beat. And if we go into positive values to the right, often after the beat, usually after the beat, in brackets drunk, always embarrassingly late at the very top. So let's bring that down to 0. And let's change the amount to a small amount, very human. Let's just get my eagerness value at 0. So I'm going to play the beat that I've got recorded into my first track back to you so you can hear it. It's just been recorded straight and it's on the grid. So let's now apply the Humanize feature. Okay, so it's a very subtle bit of sloppiness that you can hear in some of the kicks and also some of the hi-hats towards the end of those 2 bars. So let's just increase the amount of pulses to 39, which is less than the 64th note. I'm going to undo what I just did and apply this new value. Okay, so that was clearly a bit more sloppier now. So let's take the pulses down to a small amount, very human again. And now let's undo that. So we should be back at our straight beat. And now let's increase the eagerness up to usually after the beat drunk. So this is the beat straight. Now let's apply the Humanize. So not a great change there, so let's increase the amount of pulses to less than the 64th note. Okay, so it was a lot more apparent there, particularly on the snare in the second bar. So that's basically what that does. I'm not going to take you through every possible variation of these. As said in the other video on generate random events, that is something that I'll let you guys experiment with. But you get the idea. It is quite a nice algorithm. I like the way it's been implemented. and I do like the effect it gives, but you do have to be subtle with it. If you start going up into silly values, let's undo that. Right, let's apply it now with an eagerness at always embarrassingly late. And let's increase the amount of pulses to a bit more than the 64th note. So even there, it doesn't sound too bad. But if we increase the pulses to quite a high value, undo, press apply again. So then things start getting really wonky, which is great if that's what you want. It works. So let's go down. So we can also humanize the note length. Now, we're not really going to notice this on drum sounds. So this would be mostly for key group programs and melodic events. So I'm going to look at that in a second. We can also humanize the velocity. So I've currently got that filtered out at the moment. Let's humanize the velocity now. So let's take the strength up all the way to 83, and our beat should be straight at the moment. Let's take the humanize time off so we can just hear the velocity. And I'm also going to deselect that. It doesn't really make a difference, but let's just focus on the velocity. Okay, so I'm going to apply the humanized velocity now. Okay, so at 83 it was too extreme and it just sounds incorrect to my ears. So let's undo that. Let's now take this down to about 33. So we're back to our default beat. Let's apply this. So some quite nice subtle changes with humanized velocity, and this is at 33%. So I'm going to click my input filter on, so this only applies to selected events, and I'm going to choose the snare. So let's press the sequence back and then I'll apply this humanize to the snare. Just take a look at the settings. So we've got the amount at 193, which is a bit less than the 16th note, and the eagerness is up quite high, usually after the beat drunk. So as you can hear, a very noticeable change in just the snare. So let's undo that. And now let's apply it to the kick. Okay, that's quite a nice effect. Kind of bouncy. Let's undo that. And now let's choose the hi-hat. So that's pretty much Humanize when applied to drums. So on track 2, I've got a CV program which is controlling an oscillator in my modular synth. So I'm going to play a little sequence into the sequencer using pad performance mode, and then we'll humanize these notes. So I'm just going to press time correct, just so you know that it's definitely on the grid at 16th notes. So let's go to Humanize. Now we want to select Humanize time. I'll get to the length field in a minute. We don't want to humanize the velocity at this point. I'm not too sure if that will take an effect on a CV program. It might do. Let's take input filter off. So this is going to affect all our notes. So I'm going to choose a bit less than a 30-second note, and for the eagerness, I'm going to choose often after the beat. So let's take a listen and then we'll apply the Humanize. Okay, that wasn't such a bad effect. Let's increase the amount of pulses so it's a little bit later now. Okay, let's undo that. Let's now take the eagerness so our notes are going to be coming in earlier. Take my pulses down and apply it again. So on track 3, I've got a key group program, and I've just got this tom sound that's mapped over the entire 8 banks. So now you can hear if I tap on the pad, because it's set to note on, it's going to be very short and staccato. If I press and hold the pad, it's going to play the sample in full. So I'm going to tap these in short and staccato, and then we're going to check out the Humanize length feature in the Humanize window. Okay, so let's go to Humanize, and I'm going to first humanize the time. Let's make sure velocity and length aren't selected. So let's humanize the time a bit. Let's make it a little bit drunk, and the pulses I'll keep at 130. So let's apply that. Okay. Let's now deselect Humanize time, and let's try and affect the note length. So that seems to have shortened the notes. I would have thought that it would have humanized the actual length of these notes based on the fact that they're already short, but it seems to be making them even shorter. Let's close that. I'm going to put this little sequence in again, but now I'm going to hold the notes so they're longer. Okay, so let's humanize. Let's humanize the time again. Let's not humanize the length. Let's apply that. Now let's humanize the note length. Okay, so that definitely took an effect. So it actually shortens the notes if they're already long, but if they're already short, it will make them even shorter based on this. So that's it, guys. I'm not going to give you any more examples. Hopefully you'll get the idea of what Humanize does and how you can use it yourselves. There's so many different variables, as said in the Generate Random video for MPC 2.2. I could be here all day giving you all the different variables and all the different outcomes of using the different parameters in the Humanize feature. But it's an excellent feature. I hope this video has been of use to you guys. Please stay tuned for more MPC 2.2 tutorials and overviews. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And also, guys, if you want to help me to continue giving you this free video content on YouTube, you can contribute an amount of your choosing to my PayPal link, which is in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. This is Tubedigga, and I'm out.